am Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio, and today I have another block for you in the Block of the Month Club, and this is called Constellation Star, and it's like an 8-pointed star. It's all made of triangles, so all the pieces, including the background pieces, are all triangles in this block. And I have another block that is similar, and it is called Sarah's Choice, and this one is pieced the same way, except the corner blocks, as you compare the two, this is a square, one solid piece of fabric, as opposed to this one where the corner block is two different pieces of fabric. So whatever designs that we come up for this block can be used in this one too. So this is Constellation Star, and this one is Sarah's block. The first thing I'm going to do is do a combination of outlining and cross hatching, and I believe I've done this before, but I'm going to go in like 1/4 inch, ditch over and come down. And I'm going to do this on all 4 sides. And then when I get up here, I'm going to go back over this way and then repeat what I'm doing here and go up and down. And I'm going to come back over this way. Whoops, no, I'm going to go up this way, down, and around. And then we're finished with that block. Now for the other star piece, I think I'm going to do a feather. Now you could do this either in your dark block or your red. You can switch these two around. In this feather, I'm going to just put a little teardrop at the end, and then I'm going to come back down and then complete my feather like this. And fill in as much space as I can reach. Then I'd come back down and go about to this point and fill in here. So you would see that feather a little easier in your red points. So if you'd like, you could do your crosshatch here, in your blue fabric, and then do your feather in your red. And you can give this spine as much of a curve as you want. It can be a really steep curve, it could be a gentle curve, whatever you want. Your feathers can be as big or as small as you like. Use whatever kind of feather you like. This is just a basic formal feather there. And then for my background, I'm going to do something similar to this, except I'm going to go to the seam line and come down. And then I'm going to repeat this 2 more times so that I'll have 3 lines of quilting. And then come up to here and do the same on this side. And remember, this is an unfinished block, so it's 12.5 inches, so these lines would actually be in a little bit further. This would actually be your seam line here when this block is pieced to a sashing or another block. And for the bigger triangles here, I'm going to show you 2 different feathers. I'm going to start this one with a pearl in the center, and then I'm going to use this seam here as my guide as to where I want my feathers to end. So these feathers are all going to flow towards the center. And then we'll fill in this side. And you can match your feathers to how many you have on this side, both sides. So I've got these all matched up. These are a little bit off, but I think you get the idea. I'll have 4 on this side and 4 on that side. Another feather you could do would be just a one-sided feather. And we're going to go like this. And this is going to be that's my seam line there. And I'm bringing all these feathers in towards the block. Like that. Okay, for this next design, I'm going to do more of a feather or a leaf type design as opposed to a feather. And I'm going to do the same thing in both pieces of the star. And we're going to make a curve, a little short curve, which is about 1 inch, and then come down. Do another one. That makes 3, and then we have 4. Follow that all the way down, and then we're going to repeat that here. So I have 4 in this point, so I'm going to try and get 4 in this one. Come all the way down, and then we'll just repeat this all the way around the block. For a variation of this, instead of doing the points on here, let's do kind of a curved line, more of a leafy design. This design I really like in larger spaces. It's a little bit harder to get 4 of these in for me in a smaller space. You just have to think smaller. So you just get to the end, you have to do a little wiggle. And there you go. So you have 2 different variations of that. And then for these corners, what I would do is similar to an outline stitch, only I'm not stopping and starting. I'm all meeting right here. And so you got more space here than you do here. But that goes really quick. And then for this, I would do 3 or 4 lines of stitching, whatever I feel looks good. Maybe 5. And I think that's what I would do in that one. Another thing you could do is do another curve, and let's do this design that I've shown you in other videos. And for a variation of this, let's do a curve instead of a straight edge. Let's just do a curve. Or you could do this design. Let's see if I can get this to go out further. There we go. Right there. So a couple of different ideas of things you can do for your background pieces. Okay, for my next design, this is kind of a variation on the feather that I did in here. This one is going to be more of a swirl. And I want to come up to a point, come back down, and then I'm going to feather. So basically what I'm doing is just changing the spine. And it could come back down. And then you could leave this, or you could put more feathers in. So that's one with feathers in it. And then let's try one with just feathers on the back side here. So it would look like that. And I would do the same thing in both. And what I would do would be I would flip this swirl so that these two are facing each other. And then put in my feathers. Like that. Another idea for the background, stitch through your seam allowance here, or your seam, and then we're going to come and just do a couple of lines of stitching there. Makes it kind of look like rays coming out from your star. And we could do the same thing here. And then just go up your, if you like stitching in the ditch, you can always stitch right there in your ditches. Another thing that I like to do when I have reverse piecing like this is kind of emphasize that piecing, going from point to point, and then maybe fill in with another line of quilting there. Come up to this point, do the same. So it kind of emphasizes the star in your piecing. And you can mark this point. I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not marking. The less you mark, the quicker your quilting can go. So we have this. Now you do have a good amount of space that is unquilted, and if that bothers you, you can always add more in there. Or you could do a filler in here if you'd like. You could do a match stick going this direction, or you could do like a herringbone going across. What you get though is this area here where you have to kind of fudge a little bit to get all of that in. Another thing you could do is just add another line of quilting here, like that. And for your background, we could just do some continuous curve, and this is kind of like a Greek key. We're just going to continue like that, and then we can do this here, like that. Now if you're really into feathers and you want to feather this star, there are a lot of ways you can do it. You could do the spin star in the center and then flow them out. I'm going to show you two different ways that I would consider doing this. Because getting up into these points is going to be your biggest challenge. So I'm going to start with a pearl, and we're going to do this feather here that I showed earlier, just using the background piece is what I was doing it in. But we're going to fill that in here, and we'll come around and do this side. And these again are just your basic formal feather. There's nothing special about them. And come around and do this one. And again, make your feathers as large or as small as you want. I've seen really tiny feathers done in these kind of blocks, and I've seen large feathers, and they both look nice. So just whatever size you are comfortable with. So here is this, and I think that looks nice. And then another thing you could do would be to focus on this part of the feather instead of dividing these two pieces. With the large triangle, focus on the corners of the star. And that would be like this. And just a couple more. And then you'd have that. Now, a couple more background ideas is you could find your center of your corner and on each side of that block, and then we can do let's do this design. Like that. We could also do the loop. Let's do like this. We could cross hatch, and you would stitch in the ditch there, and I'm going to do a wide cross hatch here. I'm not going to do a narrow one, but you could do a narrow one. Go down through the center, come around, do another line there. And we could do a Greek key here, and we're going to go all the way around this time. Like that. Okay, we could cross hatch the triangle, and then we're going to come back out. You could also do curved cross hatching. If you have a curved ruler, that would be something that would work fairly well in these blocks. I haven't done a whole lot of curved cross hatching. I've done a little, not a whole lot, so it's not something I'm real comfortable with, but that is certainly a possibility. If you have a curved ruler, curved template that you could use, that would work fairly well. So those are my design ideas for the Constellation Star or the Sarah's Choice block.
Thanks for watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links. And to keep up with my newest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.